Hey guys, welcome back. This video is not going to be a positive one. No, this is not an announcement that we're retiring or some goofy shit. This is going to be diving into the problems and the unfortunate turn of events that happened on Wednesday regarding Xbox and Microsoft laying off around 9,000 people across all departments, including two studio closings. Um, this is a hard one to talk about. It's very difficult to talk about, to be honest. Being an Xbox fan, it's hard to justify some of this. On Wednesday, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer, he sent a memo to staff today, on Wednesday, addressing the cuts, claiming the job losses were necessary to allow for the enduring success of Xbox. We will end our decreased work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness, he said. Spencer also addressed the fact that the cutbacks are coming at a time when business is booming for Xbox. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger, he said. He did a little pat on the back. The success of Xbox today is the result of tough decisions Microsoft made previously, Spencer said. We must make choices now for the continued success in future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities, he added. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experience for players for generations to come. This is just fucking corporate speak. At the end of the day, shit's expensive, and it is very, very difficult to maintain as much of this, staff as they have across all of their outlets and across all of their teams, and do so at a reasonable manner where you have as many people as you can for these most expensive things that are, hemorrhaging money sometimes. This isn't me defending this. I in no way want to see people lose their job, and two projects have been ultimately shuttered. We'll get into that. The first studio effective is Raven Software. They are one of the Call of Duty developers. Is in circulation. They did not estimate or say how many people were fired from Raven Software, just that a significant amount of cuts were made towards the co-developer of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and they returned as an additional co-developer for the new Black Ops 7. They're also working on Warzone and a few other things like that, but it looks like Raven took a bit hit. I wish, like I am going to do for all these ones, I wish everybody who has been affected by these layoffs, that I wish them the best. I hope that they can find work within the industry that they love, and hopefully they can find themselves on a new team that respects their time, and hopefully they can find a job that works better for their life, or maybe they find a whole nother path. Either way, I wish them the best. It's not great to see this, and it hurts, being fond of video games and everything. I know I'm not huge on the Call of Duty, but seeing people lose their jobs, that ain't fun. And this is massive. This is why we're talking about this today. Told you it was going to be a very difficult one to talk about. The next studio affected, unfortunately, is Turn 10 Studios. They're the developers behind Forza Motorsport. Turn 10 Studios was reportedly hit significantly by the Xbox cuts. A report said that nearly 50% of the staff were let go. Now, this does not affect the Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon developers. Playground Games was not affected by this. Playground Games makes Forza Horizon, and they are also currently working on the reboot for Fable. But who knows? With everything going on, we'll talk about that here in a bit. To cut an entire studio, though, by 50%, that's insane. Forza Motorsport is it's a pretty, it's a there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining those IPs in terms of like the actual cars that appear on screen. There's a lot of time and dedication that goes into making them look as good as they do, scanning them and making sure they sound great. The control, the environment, their everything. It's a very, very impressive game. Even though I'm not into racing games or Forza for that matter, it takes an entire village, and they just gutted them down to a small studio. I'm curious to see the numbers, and I doubt we'll ever really truly see the numbers, but to give you an idea, if you have 100 people working for you and you cut 50%, you took 50 people away, you only have 50 people left. So it depends on how big these studios were, because sometimes things can balloon. Now this is where I play devil's advocate a little bit. If you have 500 people, that's a little too much. And cutting that in 50%, you're taking away 250 people, and then you still have 250 people. That's a lot. But if you have a team that's 50 and you cut it down to 25, that's a problem. But who knows? Either way, it's still not great. I think the go big or go home mentality has resulted in a lot of these studios going home, essentially. The next one here is a new MMO that does not have a name outside of a codenamed Blackbird. ZeniMax Online Studios was working on an MMO RPG. They are the developers of Elder Scrolls Online. That's still alive and kicking, but they were clearly working on something else, and at Xbox has officially shuttered whatever it is that they're working on. Whether or not they're going to continue to work on the Elder Scrolls Online, or shift direction and focus on to a whole nother game or another MMORPG, that is hearsay. We don't know. ZeniMax Online Studio has not seen any cuts towards jobs, however, so that's a little bit of a positive, but at the same time it is unclear how far this game, codenamed Blackbird, is not the official name of the game. It's just the code name they gave it, but that's we'll see how it goes. Both of the other studios that were affected by layoffs are also Call of Duty adjacent studios. Longtime Call of Duty co-developer High Moon Studios has also been affected by the Xbox cuts too. According to Charlie Intel, the studios has for years supported Call of Duty Warzone and other Call of Duty projects. They also saw a significant amount of developers laid off. And of course, I said another studio for Call of Duty, another Call of Duty co-developer, Sledgehammer Games, has faced layoffs as part of the wider cuts at Microsoft. That is also according to Charlie Intel and Insider Gaming. They didn't go into too much detail for High Moon or Sledgehammer Games, but they did talk about how Ravensoft took away jobs of people that had just wrapped up, finishing up, working on, and continual support for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It is very, very strange that you are taking people who are in active working situations. No, we're not talking about environmental artists where their job is done at the end of the day and it's all, cheery. We're talking about people that are actively working on the game or keeping a maintenance of the game running. So this is really odd. These aren't just we're taking jobs where, okay, so this guy's a marketer and he does artwork for the game, so for banners and shit like that. So when it shows up online via, you go to a website and you see a banner for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, that artwork and that sizing and that making sure that is there is, somebody's job. That job essentially becomes super fucking useless once once the game is out and it's shipped and everything's done and it's been out for a month or two and it's whatever. It's came and went through the zeitgeist of the internet scene. Jobs like that, no offense, but those people are marauders. They move from job to job. Again, I don't want to play devil's advocate too much with this, but I'm just saying I would see why jobs like that get cut, but seeing a job at Raven Software where it's people who are actually maintaining server maintenance for the newest and the most recent and the more played Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which again, I have no horse in this race. I don't play Call of Duty. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm gonna voice my opinions for this. And the truth is, a game that is actively being played by the player base. Sorry about that. My throat's oof. A game that is actively being played by the player base and has maintenance and people to maintain safety, security, and network efficiency, you shouldn't be laying off those people. That doesn't even make sense. So, yeah, back to it. Raven Software, High Moon, and Sledgehammer Games have all been affected by studio layoff. They've also taken 100 people off of Blizzard and Warhammer Rumble. Blizzard has announced that Warhammer Rumble support will not continue in its current form, while systematic events and bug fixes will still be made by pretty much a ghost team, essentially. Well, a skeleton crew, if you will. The employees that worked on it, there's about 100 people that are all gone from all sorts of different roles, including, but not limited to, environmental artists, character rig models, character developers, artwork system managers, online support connectivity managers, and maintenance managers. So there's a ton of people that have been affected at Blizzard and Warcraft Rumble as well. That's not the only thing as well. Apparently, there was a wide range of Xbox layoffs this week as well that affected Halo Studios, the developer formerly known as 343 Industries. They're apparently working on multiple upcoming Halo titles, but that's not enough. They said as many as 330 jobs were lost at Halo Studios. Romero Games, the studio behind that is headed up by John and Brenda Romero, or John Romero. You know him as the movie maker. They announced that the unspecified publisher has canceled funding for its new game and is believed to be Microsoft. In a post, Brenda Marrero said, "Our publisher has canceled funding for our game, along with several other unannounced projects at other studios," she added. This was a strategic decision made at a high level within the publisher, well above our visibility or control. The wording and timing, suggests that Microsoft was the publisher for this new game. It is not clear whether or not this is a fact of Microsoft. Now, know this, Romero Games is John Romero, creator of the Doom. He's off doing his own thing. He's made a few movies here and there, and now he's back to video games. Him and his wife, Brenda, are making a new FPS game of some sort, and apparently Xbox was funding it. It is rumored, again, this is not confirmed, but nevertheless, the game is, they are still their own publisher. They did not exactly lose studio staff. They just lost the money that would have been helped to make this published. Now, again, out of the bright side for this, whatever John Romero and his wife are making, Brenda Romero, whatever they're making with their new studio, I have a sneaking suspicion that they will find another publisher, whether that be a big name like Capcom, whether that be a big name like Sony or Nintendo. Who knows what will end up happening, right? But just know that there are big publishers. There's EA, there's Ubisoft maybe. Just that's a joke, but yeah, this isn't dead in the water, but it is kind of negative, especially with the team being up in the air and they have no idea. And that's about it for the layoffs, except for these massive ones here. These next two are pretty big. First one, British developer Rare was affected by the layoffs too. The studio has pretty much canceled their next game. They are hard at work at continuing to keep content going post-launch for Sea of Thieves, and it has been a relatively well-received game. Again, not really my cup of tea. But their new game they were working on, called Everwild, was in development since 2014. It was revealed in 2020. It was rebooted in 2021. Apparently, it was not up to snuff, and it was just going in a weird direction. And now, officially, 4 years later, or 3 years later, it was Everwild has officially been canceled. This game was I apologize, was announced in 2019, but it had reportedly been in development for 10 years, so 2014, yes. This one comes down to inefficiency. I will say that no one wants to see a game that people are working on go away. Of course, Rare is pretty special in the industry. They make some pretty great stuff. So to see even a Rare property get the axe is something I would never think I'd be saying or even telling you, the viewer, about. But here we are. Rare has officially had a game that's been canceled, and that's Everwild. Now, that's not to say that Rare hasn't seen cancellations and projects or concept ideas, kind of wither away, or it just never really came to be. But those are the games that you don't hear about. Those aren't games that really go into production and get the full green light and go and get past a lot of the stages in the early years of developing a game. And so to see a game that apparently was being worked on for 10 years and then got rebooted and then an additional 3 to 4 years on top of that. I mean, at that point, you're hemorrhaging money towards a project that might never come to be. So I can see, this is where I said I got to play devil's advocate a bit. I can see why Microsoft would cancel this, but to fully take whoever was working on that game and say, okay, because this fucked up, fuck you, you're fired. That's where I draw the line. But a vast majority of Rare's studio that were working on Everwild, right? They've been canned, and a higher up following this decision has decided to leave. It is unclear who it is at this time, but I'm sure it will come to fruition. Probably by the time this video is out, it'll be known, but apparently it is upset one of the higher ups who's been with Rare since the Nintendo days, back when Donkey Kong Country was being worked on. That's how prolific one of these rare employees. They're very upset with this decision, and they've basically decided to leave. They have not been fired. They have left because of the decision to give Everwild the boot. Everwild was said to be a game very similar along the lines of Pokemon, where there was going to be access to your own user-created character. You were going to be able to explore and interact with animals and stuff. It is unclear what kind of game, though, it was going to be or what genre it was going to emulate, but some speculate that it was going to be a hunting / capture game. All right, and now we're on to the really big one, the one that really hurt me deeply. I'm very, 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 very upset by this. This one stings. This one was a stop everything moment for me. Yesterday, I didn't believe it. I thought it was ha, that's funny, right? And then I read, and I was like, no, this is This is just a a bait and switch or something, right? And then I searched it up, and I'm like, no, maybe it's an April Fool's joke. I was in such bad denial when this news broke that I had to look it up, and I didn't believe it. It wasn't until the third or fourth article that I was reading on this where I was like, fuck, man. So it is with heavy heart that I must reveal to you, dear viewer, that Perfect Dark has officially been canceled. That's right. Microsoft's newest studio, The Initiative, has been closed down. They're closing up shop. Its first game was going to be a reboot of Perfect Dark. I think this also kind of also confirms the speculation as to why Crystal Dynamics, who was also was coming in to help the Initiative with Perfect Dark, why they suddenly stopped and why they went right back to Amazon Games and are working on a new Tomb Raider of sorts. But Perfect Dark and their new team, The Initiative, they're completely gone. Everybody from the entire shop has been shut down. They've closed and shuttered the studio. Everyone has been fired at that studio, and Perfect Dark is gone. It's been canceled. Whether or not Perfect Dark or Joanna Dark will be back, it is unclear. It is apparently reported that in May 2024 said that the new Perfect Dark game was in rough shape. So clearly, Microsoft was very, very, very upset with this title. It's clear that it wasn't going all as according to plan when it came to Perfect Dark. If Microsoft was willing to pretty much take this studio and say, okay, sayonara, you're out of here, you're done. I would have loved to have seen a new Perfect Dark game. I guess in the end, quality would have been better than having a butch fucked looking game. I'm hurt by this because I like Perfect Dark. I'm a big fan of it all. I remember playing these games with my cousins on their N64 and just kind of messing around, shooting each other, and doing the 4-player versus mode. It was fun. Whether or not Perfect Dark will survive, if they'll maybe take what was worked on and reintroduce Perfect Dark again. I don't want to see the IP go away. I don't want to see it die, but I don't know, gamers nowadays, I don't think people are entirely familiar with Joanna Dark and what this means moving forward for games. I'm not entirely sure. It is a rough time to be an Xbox player right now. I mean, you're watching as the Xbox pretty much determines whether or not they want to move forward with making hardware or even games for that matter. We're playing exclusive ball where we're pretty much like, oh, well, you know what, here you go, everybody. You can have this, you can have that, and not getting much in return. And then when the industry at large needs to change or things, economically speaking, things start getting more expensive or people need to make cutbacks, it's ultimately all the studios that we are all supporting that start to see closures, that start to see layoffs, that start to see downgrades. It all happens pretty quickly, and it is very disappointing to see this happening in the industry. I want nothing more than for games and for gamers to get to experience new games. I want people to keep their jobs, but sadly, this is the necessary evil, unfortunately, moving forward. Do I agree with it? Not a chance. I don't think it is a very net positive for the industry moving forward, and it's really not a good look for Xbox moving forward. I mean, why would a studio and a company and a bunch of people working their asses off taking that leap of faith and going into an industry where they work their fucking ass off only to be berated by toxic gamers and toxic communities and work their buns off just to maybe sort of kind of have their game come out, or the risk of constantly worrying, is my game or my studio or my friends, is my job at risk? No one wants to work under those conditions, and moving forward, I'd be surprised if anybody wants to work under those conditions. You also have set a very bad precedent for all of the companies currently working on games, whether they're working on new stuff, whether they're about to finish a game, whether they're in the midst of a game being finished and they're moving forward. Think of it this way. We've seen a complete cancellation of a Bethesda and a Rare title. If I was working at Bethesda, if I was working at Rare, if I was working at ZeniMax Online Studios, I don't know how I feel. If I'm working on something concurrently right now, what the hell is the state of the industry, and is my job at risk? Look at all the people that are working at Bethesda right now. There is a team that is currently keeping Doom the Dark Ages up and running. They are working their buns off to get a DLC out the door. And when that DLC comes out, do everybody at that studio or part of that team or part of that division, are they going to have to worry that now that they're done, What are you doing next? Because if you don't know what you're doing next, or you don't have a rough idea, or management who's higher up than you doesn't have a clear roadmap and path for what the team needs to make next, whether it's a new Doom game, whether it's a Quake, whether they fucking make Commander Keen, right? If the higher ups don't have a plan, then guess what? When Microsoft comes a knocking, my job is now at risk because the inefficiency of the people who are in charge don't have a clear, concise idea as to what we need to do to move forward. And that's just one example. That is Doom the Dark Ages with the DLC. Now take into account every single game that is currently being developed, that you don't even know about, that might be struggling to get their their ideas onto paper, or just maybe they just need a little more time. Regardless, now every one of those studios and every single person that works at those studios is scared that their job is now at risk. If I was Playground Games right now, I used to work for Playground Games as a developer. I used to make cars for them back before they even got on Forza Horizon. I worked on Forza Horizon 2. Okay? Now, they are now working on both another Forza Horizon game. Of course, we know this. But they're also working on Fable, the remake of Fable, or a reboot, or whatever the hell the new Fable game's going to be. That game has been talked about for the better part of 6-7 years now. And still, we've got nothing other than, a CGI trailer and some concept of gameplay. We don't actually have any official gameplay. We ain't got any box art. We ain't got any release date. They are not that confident in this if they're not willing to show anything. But maybe the team needs an extra year or two. But now that they closed Perfect Dark's The Initiative, now that they got rid of Everwild because they don't have enough to show for it, and they fired everybody as a show of, get shit done or get fucking fired, I would be severely worried for my job if I worked at Playground Games still, and I was part of the Fable team, because our team has nothing to show for right now. Whatever happens, what about all the other games that are still in development? Blade with Bethesda's Arcane Paris. What's happening with that game? It's been 2-3 years now. Where is it? Where's the information on that game? I'll give you another one. Same time, around the same time frame. This game has been it's going on 6 years without any information on this game. State of Decay 3. That's an Xbox-owned studio, by the way. These are all Xbox-owned studios. And I'm sure there's a ton of different other studios that I'm not even aware of, and that you, dear viewer, aren't even aware of either. But regardless, if I'm part of these studios, I would be very, very, very worried for my job. I hope you guys know right now, this entire episode, I do want to say, I wanted to film this. I have nothing but fucking distractions all day. So give it up. I've got doorbells ringing, dogs barking, my fucking phone's going off, the Xbox is going off. It's lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. Having a bit of a meltdown. Sorry. Anyways, I guess the one thing I want to say is layoffs are shitty. Hopefully, and again, I want to stress this. I think I've already said this, but again, I wish everyone who has been fired the best of luck. I hope that all these people find jobs in fields that they will be appreciative. I hope that they can get onto a team and finally ship a game, especially for the team behind the initiative. I do not agree with this. I'm very sad to see Perfect Dark remake or reboot or whatever it was going to be get the axe. We saw gameplay of that, by the way. I have actually got to put hands on that game and try the opening level, or what I assume was like some sort of tutorial that would have been closer to the beginning of the title. But regardless, really cool, and now we're never going to get it. It was like a cross between Titanfall meets Mirror's Edge meets the tactical espionage of what you would expect from Perfect Dark, with the all the cool stuff of like a Deus Ex or some sort. Very cool. Sad to see it go. I'm sad to see all these people's studios go, and I'm nervous for all the teams that are now working on games. This is not a good look for Xbox. They need to do something, and they need to do better, because your studios, the morale must be fucking abysmal right now. I'm not sure what Xbox is going to do. I'm not sure where Xbox is headed. And as a longtime fan and a fanboy of Xbox and an achievement hunter and all these different titles, I'm nervous. And if I'm nervous, then you're doing something wrong. I'm willing to defend a lot, but I can't. I don't want to defend this. This is outrageous, man. So best of luck to everybody that lost their jobs. I know I'm repeating myself, but there's much we can't say. Rest in peace to all the games that got developed. Of course, they also said these are all the things that we know of. There's probably some other games that won't, and it will probably come to light within the next 5 to 10 years of games that shoulda, woulda, coulda, but never did. So it's a sad day for gaming, and it's a sad day to be an Xbox fan. Okay. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys listening, and I know we haven't been making videos. We just wanted to take a bit of a break. As I said at the beginning of the video, we will be covering a bunch of movies, and I'm prepping and getting ready for all those movies to be coming out. In fact, tomorrow, at the time of this recording, Tina and I will be seeing Jurassic World Rebirth. We are going to be seeing it in a different format. I won't spoil it here, but look forward to that video when that drops tomorrow, or over the weekend of the time of this recording. But if you're a time traveler, you know my joke. Welcome. You probably already see it, and you can go check out that video now. But thanks again. Give this video a like. Spread the word about this. It was not a very positive, and also there was a ton of distractions, so we got through it though. Thanks a bunch, you guys, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.